Hello there, you're watching Nightline with me, Nadia. Azmi. The top stories. Gaza crisis due to clear abandonment of moral responsibility, PM tells APEC leaders. And EPF records total investment income of 47.86 billion ringgit. Good morning. Walking the talk, Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim has highlighted the plight of Palestinians caught up in the Israeli onslaught on Gaza before the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation APEC leaders in San Francisco. The Prime Minister said this when addressing the APEC economic leaders' informal dialogue and working lunch, which was also attended by US President Joe Biden on Friday. According to Anwar, the sufferings inflicted on the Palestinians and people in Gaza clearly demonstrated an abandonment of moral responsibilities. He also said the massive destruction and loss of innocent lives would only end up causing regional instability and possibly even further conflicts. Anwar stressed that the humanitarian crisis in Palestine is poised to affect not just Palestine or the broader Middle East, but also leave an imprint on global relations for many years to come. He also had slammed the blatant violations of international law by Israel when speaking at a special lecture at the University of California earlier this week. In addition, Anwar, who is also the finance minister, called for developed nations to take on greater responsibility and do more to assist developing countries in energy transition. Currently, he said the developing economies and emerging economies are not getting the right support that is required for the energy transition from developed nations. The Prime Minister also commended President Biden and his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping for their bilateral meeting on the sidelines of APEC despite continued tensions between the two superpowers. He also pointed out that China-US engagement is key for the future of the economic grouping. Meanwhile, Tan Sri Razaruddin Hussein stressed that police have not received any reports of direct or indirect threats due to Malaysia's firm stand, support and commitment to defend the rights of the Palestinian people, as well as criticism against the Israeli government. The Inspector General of Police, however, said that the police are continuing to gather information and intelligence in case there is any external threat on the matter.
Buat masa ini ugutan secara direct tak ada. Tetapi kita masih mengumpulkan risikan, menentukan keselamatan negara ini di tahap yang sangat baiklah, di tahap yang tinggi.
Razaruddin said this to the media after attending the Basic Police Inspector Training Passing Out Parade at the Kuala Lumpur Police Training Centre Pulapol on Friday. Previously, the media reported that police will gather information if there is activity by Mossad agents in the country, following Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim's revelation at a rally in Kuala Lumpur last month that he had received threats from foreign countries over his outspokenness on the humanitarian issue in Gaza and Malaysia's pro-Palestinian stance. The top cop also had revealed in a special interview with Berita Harian and TV3 earlier this month that the threats against Anwar are real. In the meantime, the tragic death toll continues to mount as the Zionist regime forces intensified their airstrikes on Gaza Strip on Friday, leaving a number of Palestinians dead and many others injured. The ruthless regime attacked the Jabalia refugee camp, where at least 18 civilians were killed and several others were injured, while 3 others were killed in an airstrike in the Fallujah neighborhood. The Zionist army also attacked several areas in Rafah, killing more than 16 Palestinians. The regime also bombed various areas in northern Gaza, focusing its recent attacks on the Sheikh Radwan neighborhood in Gaza City. With all hospitals in Gaza City and the northern Gaza Strip out of service, the situation has become increasingly critical as more than 11,470 Palestinians have been killed since the Zionist rampage began. Meanwhile, a British Palestinian doctor who evacuated from Gaza's Al-Ahli hospital along with his surgical staff described on Friday how leaving the wounded behind felt like a living nightmare. Dr Ghassan Abu Sita, who was previously working at Al-Shifa Hospital before relocating to Al-Ahli, said that the hospital was surrounded by the Zionist regime tanks and that it had run out of medications and anesthetics, which forced them to stop operating.
In the early hours of the morning, there was heavy bombing all around the hospital, and really close to the hospital. You could feel the whole building being shook. And and it sounded like tank fire. It didn't sound like air raid. And so we made the decision that it was time for at least the operating room staff who were not going to be able to provide a service to evacuate. We left, there were over 500 wounded needing urgent medical care, but needing surgical intervention that we could not provide because we'd run out of medication. The operating room could no longer function. And at the best, there were 2 operating rooms in it. We were always overwhelmed with the number of wounded compared with what we were able to provide.
Kita ada banyak penjenayah tapi tidak ada penjenayah yang daring yang sanggup nak bunuh ketua polis.
Dari tingkap dia tembak pom balas. Otak Cina mau bunuh dia.
Perkataan Cina, orang Cina, berotak maknanya tak ada kerja.
Asal barang jadi duit, botak Cina akan sampai.
Fail Mahkamah, Rabu 9 malam di TV3 dan stream secara HD ditonton.
The Employees Provident Fund EPF recorded a total investment income of 47.86 billion ringgit as at September 2023. The figure shows a 33% increase compared to the 36 billion ringgit recorded in the same period last year. Its CEO, Dr Sri Amir Hamzah, said global stocks went down substantially in the third quarter, moving away from the robust profits in the first half of the year. The total investment income for the third quarter was 14.67 billion ringgit after netting off write-downs. Equity investments remained a significant contributor, accounting for 63% with 9.17 billion ringgit generated. EPF's overseas investments, meanwhile, generated 6.55 billion ringgit or 45% of the total investment income recorded.
Kanak-kanak, aspirasi masa depan negara. Apa hala tuju kerajaan dalam menangani isu serta pembangunan kanak-kanak? Kupasannya dalam Soal Rakyat bersama Menteri Pembangunan Wanita, Keluarga dan Masyarakat Datuk Seri Nancy Shukri. Sabtu 18 November 5.32 petang hanya di TV3 dan stream HD ditonton.
The National Security Council NSC is constantly monitoring terrorist threats received through various platforms, including social media. Its Director General, Datuk Raja Nur Syirwan Zainal Abidin, said these threats were due to Malaysia's unwavering support, particularly expressed by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim for Palestinian people who have been victimised by the Israeli regime's violence.
Isu keselamatan ni isu yang kita tak boleh ambil mudah sebab kita selalu mengandaikan yang negara kita akan sentiasa selamat, padahal kadang-kadang ancaman tu terus ada dan mungkin berlaku. Jadi untuk memperkemaskan pertamanya dan keduanya untuk menyelaras dan ketiganya untuk meningkatkan kesiapsiagaan semua agensi-agensi yang terlibat dalam isu ini.
Raja Nur Syirwan said this to the media at the end of the 4-day comprehensive security exercise and seminar Ex-Comsec 2023 in Bandar Hilir, Melaka on Friday. He added that the NSC had also issued updated instructions on standard operating procedures (SOPs) related to terrorism and providing authorities with a comprehensive guide on how to deal with such threats. He also assured that the government treats matters of national security seriously, irrespective of the context of the threats, including false threats. Raja Nur Sherwan also stressed that terrorism must be looked at comprehensively, including the possibility of an individual's involvement in a terrorist movement. The post of Communications Department Director General, vacated by Dr Muhammad Aus Yusof, will be filled as soon as possible. Communications and Digital Minister Fahmi Fadil said this when confirming Agus's resignation.
Saya ada bercakap dengan Timbalan Ketua Pengarah Datuk Haji Ismail, Timbalan Ketua Pengarah JCOM, dan beliau ada memaklumkan ada menerima surat daripada mantan Ketua Pengarah menyatakan bahawa beliau meletakkan jawatan. Jadi kita ucap terima kasih dan sekarang individu itu tidak lagi ada apa-apa kaitan dengan pihak kerajaan ataupun dengan JCOM.
Speaking to Malaysian media in San Francisco, Fahmi added that he has yet to speak to Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim regarding this matter. It was reported on Thursday that Aus confirmed submitting his resignation letter, claiming he had received offers from local and international organisations needing his services, and denied that it was due to pressure over his alleged poor performance. Offin Banks' earnings performance has been impacted by net interest margin compression, leading from the elevated cost of funds. Pre-tax profit after zakat for the first 9 months of this year was 449.7 million ringgit. This is after excluding the gain the group made on the disposal of its asset management business in 2022 for 1.06 billion ringgit. Comparing bottom lines, net profit was 362.6 million ringgit from 1.16 billion ringgit in the same period last year. In the third quarter alone, the net profit was 100.4 million ringgit compared to 872.3 million ringgit recorded a year earlier. Revenue, meanwhile, stood at 500.4 million ringgit. Drilling to rescue 40 men trapped in Indian tunnel halted. News from the foreign front when we return. Continues. 3 separate earthquakes were reported on Friday in the Philippines, Indonesia and Myanmar, measuring powerful magnitudes ranging from 5 to 7.2. In Myanmar, the earthquake measured at 5.3 occurred at 9:37 a.m. local time at a depth of 12 kilometers. Another quake measured at 5.1 occurred in Indonesia's Papua at 11:02 a.m. local time at a depth of 53 kilometers, while a 7.2 magnitude quake was recorded in Mindanao at 4:14 p.m. local time at a depth of 71 kilometers. No tsunami warning has been released so far. Rescuers trying to reach 40 workers trapped in a collapsed highway tunnel in the Indian Himalayas since last weekend suspended work temporarily on Friday due to a snag with their drilling machine. The state-run National Highways and Infrastructure Development Corporation said the pipes had been pushed for 22 metres, about one-third of the way, when there was a snag on Friday afternoon. It also said that the machine was not able to push further and its bearings were getting damaged. It was also reported that efforts to reach them were slowed by falling debris during drilling. In the meantime, the workers have been supplied with food, water and oxygen through a pipe, and the authorities have been in contact with them via walkie-talkies. South Korea on Friday aimed to ban eating dog meat and put an end to the controversy over the practice amid growing awareness of animal rights. Officials said the government and the ruling People Power Party agreed to introduce before the end of the year an act to end dog meat consumption by 2027. The policy chief of the ruling People Power Party, Yoo Dong, said the bill is expected to win bipartisan support, which should allow it to sail through Parliament. The legislation would ban the breeding of dogs for slaughter as well as dog meat sales. The Korean practice of eating dog has drawn criticism from overseas for its cruelty, but there has also been increasing opposition at home, particularly from the younger generation. Yusin Yi, only Malaysians left standing in Japan Masters. Sports after this breather. Welcome back. Sports badminton, the 2023 Japan Masters. Professional men's doubles shuttlers Ong Yusin, Theo Yi kept the Malaysian flag flying high by booking their spot in the semi-finals on Friday. World number 12 Yusin and Yi kept calm throughout the game to beat Taiwan's world number 25 Li Fangqi, Li Fangzhen 21-19, 21-16 in the last 8. Yusin and Yi will bid to reach their first World Tour final in a year when they take on China's Liu Yuchen and Wei Xuanyi next. Meanwhile, it was the end of the road for national top women's doubles Perlitan and Tina. The pair suffered a disappointing 13-21, 18-21 defeat to home favourites Rina Miyaura, Ayoko Sakuramoto. In the mixed doubles event, two national pairs, Chen Tangji, Toh Yiwei and Tan Kian Meng, Lai Peijing, also crashed out in the quarterfinals. Tangji Yiwei found China's world number 1 and Asian Games champions Zheng Siwei, Huang Yaqiong too hot to handle and lost out 14-21, 14-21. While Kian Meng Beijing fell 15-21, 16-21 to another home favourites, Yuta Watanabe, Arisa Higashino. On to tennis now, the 2023 ATP Finals. Jannik Sinner put away Holger Rune to claim the top spot of Green Group as the tournament marched into the semi-finals. The 22-year-old raced through the opening set 6-2 before Rune fought back to take the second 7-5. The world number 4, however, managed to claw his way back into the game and claimed the third set 6-4 for his first career win over Rune. With his win, Sinner became the first Italian in the tournament's 54-year history to reach the last 4. The win also meant world number 1 Novak Djokovic will also advance to the semis despite losing to Sinner on Tuesday. When we return, man claims trial to rape of 14-year-old girl. Don't go away. Welcome back. A textile mogul was charged at the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court on Friday with abetting 2 men in causing grievous hurt to a former judge last month. The 54-year-old accused, Pavitar Singh Manjit Singh, however, pleaded not guilty when the charge was read to him before Judge Siti Aminah Ghazali. It was alleged that Pavitar had abetted Muhammad Shahrul Nizam Muhammad Maimun and Muhammad Ashraf Sharin to cause serious injuries to Datuk Jagjit Singh Bant Singh using a screwdriver near Solaris Dutamas on October 19th this year. The offence under the Penal Code is punishable by a prison sentence of up to 20 years and subject to a fine or whipping upon conviction. The court set bail at 25,000 ringgit with one surety and fixed December 5th for next mention. It was reported earlier that a businessman had been arrested for allegedly masterminding a brutal attack on a lawyer and his associate at their legal practice in relation to a family feud. Both the assailants had pleaded guilty to the crime on October 25th and were each sentenced to 4 years jail and a stroke of the rotad. A 52-year-old man was charged at the Kuala Kangsar Sessions Court on Friday with 3 counts of raping and sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl in March this year. The accused, however, pleaded not guilty when the charges were read to him before Judge Rohaida Ishaq. According to the charge sheet, the odd-job worker was accused of raping as well as committing 2 counts of physical sexual assault on the minor in Sungai Kenering, Kampung Belom Baru Lawin, Greek on March 27th. The charges under the Penal Code and Sexual Offences Against Children Act provide a jail term of up to 20 years and whipping upon conviction. The court set bail at 10,000 ringgit with 2 sureties for all charges and imposed additional conditions where the accused and his family members are prohibited from approaching and disturbing the victim. The judge then set December 18th for case mention. In Pulau Pinang, police busted a drug trafficking syndicate which uses cars to store the drugs with the arrest of 5 men and a woman in 3 separate raids around Jelutong and Glugor on Tuesday. Northeast District Acting Police Chief Superintendent V. Saravanan said the raids were carried out by its Narcotics Crime Investigation Division team through Ops Tapis.
Kita belum kena pasti siapa yang betul-betul.
In the first raid on the Taman Sri Damai Jelutong apartment, police nabbed 3 men and a woman in a unit and found 2 packets of heroin, 1 packet of shabu and 4 Aramin 5 pills. Police then arrested 2 more syndicate members at a car park in the same location and seized 2 packets of heroin weighing 228 grams hidden inside a car. The police then raided a separate car park at the side of Persiaran Bukit Gambir 1, Glugor, and found 9 packets of heroin weighing 4.1 kilograms hidden in another car. Based on initial investigations, it was believed that the suspects used the vehicles to store the drugs before they are distributed to buyers in the local market. Authorities also seized a luxury car and 3 motorcycles, jewellery and more than 6,000 ringgit cash, with a total seizure amounting to over 135,000 ringgit and are currently working to identify the source of the drug supply. All the suspects, aged between 21 and 42, have been remanded for a week until November 21st to assist in investigations under the Dangerous Drugs Act. Karen Chu has written, illustrated and published her very first book. But what's truly impressive is that this young author is only 11 years old. FMT's Sheila Vijayan and Dinesh Kumar Maganathan have the story.
Do you remember how you spent your time when you were 10? Perhaps you played sports or watched television. Karen Chu, who turned 11 last month, has written and published a book titled What Can an 8-Year-Old Tell You? She stamped her name in local literary history when she was recognized by the Malaysia Book of Records as the youngest book author and by the Youth Achievement Records for being the youngest non-fiction published author in Malaysia.
Children grow up reading books written by adults. Could you imagine a world where children grow up reading books written by children?
The book tells of her experience as a world schooler, as well as, perhaps surprisingly, her views on such topics as depression and addiction. Wondering what a world schooler is? Karen describes world schoolers as those who travel around the world to learn from other people and cultures. As the title suggests, Karen was only 8 when she started working on her book, even though she actually began writing when she was about 3 to 4 years old, first a diary and then a blog.
When I first started just like flipping back through the diary, I did not actually even expect to write a book, but just get it published.
If that isn't impressive enough, Karen also pitched the book to her publisher and even did the illustrations. Still, she admits she had reservations about sharing her writing with the world.
Sometimes, like some of the stories I write is quite personal, and sometimes I'm a bit scared like what people will think about what I have to say.
So, what does an 8-year-old have to say? According to Karen, a lot.
It's not that adults don't understand what it's like to be a kid. It's just that they forgot. So, children can tell adults a lot of things they've forgotten, but adults do have things they can tell children that we might not know yet.
Dinesh Kumar Maganathan and Sheila Vijayan, FMT Lifestyle for Nightline.
As we wrap up Nightline this time around, let's take a look as F1 drivers Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez, Daniel Ricciardo and Yuki Tsunoda race each other in the Nevada desert on hovercrafts ahead of the Las Vegas GP. With that, I'm Nadia Azmi. Thank you for watching and be well, Malaysia.